Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. Guys, what is going on? I think I stumbled onto something really weird, and let's just get into it. So the DOJ leak that came out about Candace Owens, the whole we need to blackmail her faster thing. Well, I covered that at first. And then there was another leak relating to that one. And it was someone, allegedly, this Armstrong person, allegedly him, suggesting to whoever was blowing the whistle on this whole thing, this whole blackmailing Candace Owens thing, suggesting that she could end up like Charlie Kirk if she keeps on giving information out, keeps on giving text messages out, keeps blowing the whistle. Okay, so we looked into that. And now I think that I figured out who the whistleblower is. And the whistleblower matches up with this Armstrong guy quite a bit. And it kind of makes things make sense. Now, of course, I am still going to say, I don't know if this is him. This is alleged. But I just did some digging into this whole thing. And for me, at the end of this, it raises the question of what does this guy know about what happened to Charlie? And then I'm going to bring up Andrew Colvett. Also, I just got to write things down sometimes, guys. You guys know me. I take a lot of notes. Now, let's just jump into this whole thing. Now, a little refresher for everybody. This came out, the whole we need to blackmail her faster. It was allegedly sent by Mary Barr Daly, former senior DOJ official daughter of former AG Bill Barr. Okay. So these whole things came out. Now, the reason that this matters and the reason that I have to keep giving this refresher is because the person that she's saying, now, when I say she, I mean Mary, okay? Barr. We'll just say Barr for her. So now Barr is suggesting that this whistleblower work with Armstrong. We'll give you commands. You need to refocus on black and blank. Work with Armstrong on this. Send some younger types over to him. He's an easy target to secure. Okay. The harder one is Candace. She's very resistant. Gather the group to come up with a good strategy, but don't waste time for blank. It would be good to have something to put him in jail with. And then that whistleblower says, I don't want to be on that. So that's that refresher there for you. Okay. And I know for people who've been watching every episode, I know you've seen this before, but I got to walk through this just so you understand where I'm coming from with this. Now, this one here says, have you been working on this issue, this Candace Owens issue? We need to blackmail her faster. Klacik has been very affected. Tell Armstrong to send the photographer to follow her and her husband. That's referring to Candace Owens. Now, this lady says, I guess I just kind of told you a little bit about this whistleblower. This whistleblower says, AW want to know if they need to focus on Candace or blank. Apparently, allegedly, Barr says Candace first. I'm so angry at her. I can't stop thinking if the things she says about Klacik are taken seriously, they will investigate into where the money went. In regards to her campaign, we have to bring out material to damage her reputation before she gets to us. Just imagine people in the background talking about Candace like that. We got to get her before she gets to us. I could see it. Now, I just wanted to give you that refresher. I also have to let you know a little more about this Armstrong. Now, when she refers to Armstrong, allegedly, she's talking about Armstrong Williams. This is all very odd. How many people named Armstrong are there in the world? I mean, honestly, how many could there possibly be? I know there's probably a bunch, but I mean, these are a select few people throughout the world who have the name Armstrong. Okay. It's a wild name to have. Kind of, pretty cool, in some ways, until you become this kind of guy. Then it's not so cool, but it makes sense. All right, guys, there's 3 things I need you to do. Like, subscribe, and go check out the Patreon. That's it. Get back to the episode. So then they release this. They're just talking about these text messages, how Armstrong threatens this person, allegedly this whistleblower. Got to show that to you as well. Do you think I wouldn't notice? Do you think I didn't notice you handed your text messages about Candace over to Veritas? You're being far too brazen. I know you're without a lawyer. How on earth do you think pulling a stunt like this helps you? You'd better remember every single day that you're alive is because of me, and that you never got extradited because of me as well. Now, that's something to remember. Okay, we'll just say extradited. I just want to remember that, because that comes up, because you have to make the connection between whoever this is and this whistleblower, right? So they say all that. The next time I see any of your messages leaked to Veritas, things are going to change. Barr is already running out of patience. And then he says, be careful at the end. Is Candace paying for your security? Because if she isn't, she ought to be. And now that you're on her team and act like you two are thick as thieves, you can pass along a message for me. Things won't end well for either of you if you keep this nonsense up. Just take a good hard look at what happened with Kirk, and maybe you'll think twice. Now, that is a wild thing to say. I know. I've already told you guys how crazy I think that is to say to somebody. Now, we go a little deeper, okay? Now, somebody reposted my video. Shout out to everybody who reposts my video. I really appreciate it. I don't care how many followers you have. The fact that you take the time is just amazing. But somebody actually commented on this, because I reposted the repost. They said, hey, do you remember Armstrong had a foreign secretary that was a whistleblower into Armstrong, Fannie Willis, and Bill Barr meeting and going to D.C. together against the now Prez? And I said, huh? Because I didn't remember anything like that. I don't remember hearing anything like that. But this person actually showed me this tweet, and I was like, wow, check this out. So we'll go down a little bit here just so you can see. This person, Jack Watts, common sense. This beautiful lady is Patricia Lélis, working for Armstrong Williams. She is courageous. She is the courageous whistleblower who has come forward to testify against Bill Barr as part of the lawfare cabal that plotted to take down now Prez. Okay, so let's go a little further. Lélis, I'm going to say Lélis for her name, attended dozens of strategy meetings attended by Barr, where she took copious notes, all to help disgraced Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis criminal lawsuits against now Prez. Lélis also stated that they coordinated their efforts with Jack Smith, who had Mar-a-Lago raided, but that's not all. Okay, so that's where that ended. So that person just showed that to me just to give me a little heads up, like, hey, maybe this is something to look into. And I was like, okay, let's start looking into that, because that just makes sense. So right away I said, who is, Patricia Lélis? Right away, they're like, Patricia, 1994. Do you know how crazy it is? Are you at the age where you see people born in 1994 and you're like, oh, you're 10 years old? Or are you 10 years old? I didn't realize you were 10 years old. Crazy. I'm just saying. She's a Brazilian journalist, known public figure, controversial legal issues. She gained a lot of attention back in 2016 after accusing Deputy Federal Marco Facilio of some kind of SA, unlawful confinement, etc., etc. We move here, go down here a little bit. She is affiliated with political parties, including Partio. I guess that's something in Brazil. So she has Brazilian political affiliations. In January. Now, I always ask this question right at the beginning, so the AI that I'm working with understands who I'm talking about. So I wanted to see, I'm like, does this thing know who I'm talking about, right? In 2024, the Bureau issued a warrant for her arrest on charges of fraud, illegal financial transactions, and aggravated identity theft following an incident by the Eastern District of Virginia, also accused of posing as an immigration attorney to defraud foreign investors, primarily Brazilians, out of approximately $700,000 by falsely promising them E2 and EB5 visas throughout fraudulent investment schemes. The U.S., the DOJ, confirmed she was indicted for these crimes. Now, she actually claims that Barr, Armstrong, these people, these high up people, they were putting her up to this kind of thing, and she actually became a fall guy for them. Now, I could believe either. I could believe she's lying. I could believe that that's actually something that makes sense. Now, this is where it gets a little more interesting. I said, did she work with Armstrong Williams? This thing said, yes, Patricia did work with Armstrong Williams. She was hired in 2021. Just really quick, I'm just going to highlight this. She was hired in 2021. I'm going to go back to these text messages because they were from 2021, right? So we go a little deeper now. She worked with his media company, Howard Stirk Holdings, as a journalist. However, she later alleged that Williams involved her in a visa fraud scheme, instructing her to create business cards for sham companies to help wealthy foreign nationals obtain U.S. investor visas, E2, EB5. So she was doing this type of work, but it was at his request, allegedly, right? This is what she claims, right? She claims that she was directed to receive $700,000 to her personal account for one visa application, was threatened by Williams when she raised concerns, including being misrepresented as a lawyer. She also alleges that Williams and former attorney Barr were central figures in the scheme, which she exposed as a whistleblower to Project Veritas. So she actually has worked with Project Veritas. Now, again, you might think, well, that's all the proof that you need, but she worked with them on this project, this whole thing of the $700,000 and everything. It doesn't mean that she confirmed and just said, here's Candace Owens stuff. That didn't make sense to do back then, right? That's why Project Veritas didn't release that until now. Now Candace says that people are after her. The FBI needs to take notice. It's actually happened once. Someone's doing jail time because of it, or is going to be put to trial because of it. So I had to find out if she actually had connection to that whole thing. So I just kept digging little bit by little bit. You know, we went down here. Does she know Candace Owens? There's no evidence that she has any link to Candace Owens. Then I said, what are some of the claims that she's made? Again, these are visa fraud involving Armstrong and Barr, Barr's involvement. And this is very odd because people lie, but this is a lot of stuff to lie about. And to involve such high up connected people would be such a crazy thing to do, you know? But she was actually around these people because Armstrong, and I'll show you as I go digging into Armstrong actually did have involvement with Barr. They do have a relationship. So here, the second claim is Bill Barr's involvement. She asserts that the former Attorney General Barr was aware and actively participated in the fraud. Using burner phones to conceal communication, she claims Barr used his influence to bypass standard government processes and automatically approve visas. Now, here's the thing. At the time when this was happening, his daughter was DOJ. His daughter was a senior official in the DOJ during this time. So, you know, using his influence to bypass standard government processes, that's something that he could do. Not saying that he did. Not saying that he did. I'm just saying if your daughter's DOJ, you can probably get a little bit of a hookup there. On top of that, you're Bill Barr. So you probably have influence even outside of that. But the easiest thing to do is just go to family, right? So she also claims that there is a DOJ cover-up and retaliation. She claims that she reported the scheme to the Bureau, but subsequently got indicted on 19 charges. Now, I laugh, but she went to them to report what was going on, and they're like, oh, well, we're just going to arrest you. Yeah, we'll leave everybody else out of it. Again, that sounds very odd. Now, at the time, who was the head of the Bureau, right? At this time, 2021, is it? So it's not Comey at that point. It is Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray is the one that's in charge at that point. Just bringing that up, just for anybody who knows more than I do. Maybe that sends a light bulb in your head when we talk about this whole thing. While involved, they were not prosecuted. She said others were involved, but they were not prosecuted. She alleged she's being used as a fall guy in a DOJ cover-up to protect powerful deep state figures. Now, that would be Barr. That could also be Armstrong. Again, not saying they were, but for her to pull this off, and for her to think that she can pull this off by herself, she's just going to do this. She's from another country. She just thinks, I'm just going to do this. I know I can get this done. I'm going to misrepresent myself as a lawyer. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to put this money into my personal account. That's not quite what you do if you are criminal-minded enough to even take something like that on. If you are that criminal-minded, you would probably have the mindset to go, okay, well, I'm going to get somebody else to do this. I'm not going to put it in my personal account. No, it's crazy. Why would I do that? I'm not going to do that. And if someone has to misrepresent themselves as a lawyer, it sure as hell isn't going to be me. I'm going to get someone else to do that. I got $700K to throw around. I'm going to pay somebody $50K just to do that. I'll pay somebody else a $50K to put it in their personal account. I'm just saying, if you have that mindset, you're not going to just put your handprints all over the thing. But if you're this fall guy who doesn't have as much power, who's being pushed around by people, you might just say, okay, well, I did this and I did that and I did that. And now you are being put up to be a fall guy, right? She also says that she was a part of secret meetings to target certain people. As you can see there, she claims to have attended dozens of meetings from 2021, remember that date, to 2023, where Barr and others devised legal strategies to target now Prez and block any type of comeback that he could possibly have. And I believe we all saw that whole thing in action, all right? She says this included all sorts of things. I can't even say those things. Yeah, she just has proof, handwritten notes, text messages, etc. So that's as much digging as I did into her. Again, I brought up that date of 2021 because those text messages are from 2021. So it seems like, and also just to bring up this lady saying that she's a fall guy before she becomes a whistleblower, somebody says you need to work on this case. She's putting up a question mark. Then they say what the case is going to be, or what the thing is going to be that you're going to do. She says, I don't want to be on that. That kind of sounds like someone who would be in her position. You're kind of just getting pulled and pushed in all sorts of different directions. Now, I had to verify, has she actually worked with Project Veritas? And the question is yes. The answer is yes. In another video, she claimed to be actively working in the operation, saying she worked alongside other investigative journalists, that all the material would be published on Project Veritas. She boasts that the group went to the police station, delivered evidence to them, that the Bureau got judges' warrants to enter the hotel. According to Lélis, our journalism group made this deal with the police, and we're going to post everything via Project Veritas. Now, the reason that I had to find that is because when I did more digging, she was denying that she worked with Project Veritas, because if she was to reveal that she worked with Project Veritas, she might just get messages like this. where people are saying to think long and hard about what happened to Kirk, and maybe you'll think twice, telling you to be careful, telling you that people's patience are running thin. So she was like, I didn't work with them. But she's, again, this lady does not seem criminal-minded, because she went on in a video on TikTok, of course, born in 1994, TikTok generation type, obviously saying these things in a video, not realizing people are going to remember. So she revealed that she actually did. So then I had to go into Armstrong a little bit, because, again, I'm not saying that it's him, but I had to do some digging to see who is this guy and what is this guy all about. So it tells me who Armstrong is. I just want to make sure I have the right guy, conservative commentator guy. So now I say, does he actually have a link to this woman? Because that's the thing, right? I think I found the whistleblower, but I don't know, because I have to verify if she actually has a link to Armstrong. And the answer is yes, she does have a link to Armstrong. She is that Brazilian journalist. So it is talking about the same person. Always have to make sure of that. It's talking about the same company. Howard, what is this? Howard Stirk Holdings, HSH, starting in 2021. Again, those text messages, 2021. So now it's starting to make sense a little more. She had serious allegations, immigration, visa fraud scheme, the stuff I already told you guys about, the visas, right? Key points. Now, this is where it gets more interesting. It starts to show little connections between the text messages that Armstrong allegedly wrote and his behavior here. So allegedly directed her, Patricia, to receive $700,000 in personal account. When she raised concerns about the legality and being misrepresented as a lawyer, he threatened her green card status. Now, the reason that I say that is because if you look in these messages, he says, you better remember that every single day you're alive is because of me, and that you were never extradited because of me as well, right? So that makes that link up. That makes me take this lady a little more serious, and it shows a connection between the text messages who are allegedly Armstrong and what she's saying about Armstrong. So this tells me that she is actually the whistleblower for sure, and that that allegedly Armstrong, we'll make his first name allegedly Armstrong from now on, actually did say something like this. Text messages and emails reviewed by Project Veritas show communications between the two. Now we go, there is a claims of the scheme expedited with the help of Mr. Barr, who allegedly ensured automatic approval. We already went over that. He was going to use his influence. I think that would be the daughter, allegedly. She says she's not involved. Barr says he's not involved. Armstrong says he's not involved. It's just this one lady. I mean, the ball's on this lady for having those people around her, and, be possibly getting extradited back to Brazil, for her to do all that. Balls on her to just do something like that and not just sit down and do her work and just be a normal citizen. There you go. So we had that, but then I just wanted to go a little deeper, because this guy said something about Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, why did he say something about Charlie Kirk? Why did he say that? What does he know about what happened to Charlie that the rest of us don't know? So I wanted to see it. What's his connection to Charlie Kirk? And you never just fully trust AI. You know what I mean? You always have to double check, which I have. It says that they're both prominent. There's no direct professional or personal relationship between the two. I was like, okay, all right. So then I went on and I said, hey, what's the connection between Candace Owens and Armstrong? And he says, no public, no personal, no professional link, They may appear in the same circles, but that's about it. Sometimes, that's all. I say, okay, well, what's the connection between Armstrong and Kim Klacik? And it says, oh, there's no connection there. And then I go, okay, I'm calling BS on this thing. You always got to double check whenever you're using AI for anything. So I call BS, because the first text messages talk about this person saying work with Armstrong. They're also saying that Klacik is very affected. They're also saying they can't sleep because of it. And they're saying that Armstrong is somebody, at least, they're using the name Armstrong. Could be any Armstrong, Could be Armstrong Johnson. Could be Armstrong Washington. Could be Armstrong Jenkins. I don't know. There's plenty of Armstrongs out there. But right now, this person is saying that she's mentioning Klacik, she's mentioning Armstrong, and then I go here and it says that there's no connection. I call BS on that and I look into it and I find Armstrong. There's the man, one of many Armstrongs. It could be anybody, allegedly, perhaps, maybe. And I find him doing an interview where not only is he talking about Candace and how he knows Candace, but he's also talking about Kimberly Klacik and how he knows her as well. Let's listen.
Right now, good morning to you, Armstrong. The interview gained plenty of traction online. First, give me your thoughts on what's transpired between these two, especially when you think about how this started in the first place.
Two very important voices in the conservative movement. One was a candidate for mayor in Baltimore. Other has built an extraordinary following. And they just happen to be Black, which is something that is very rare. And to see this kind of feud being aired out in public is actually pretty sad and disappointing. I know both of them. And whatever issues they have, you would hope that they can resolve them in private. I mean, there's so many other issues that have utmost importance, but yet this feud is spilled out in the public. It's interesting, Jan. I don't even know if you follow what's going on within Fox News with Tucker Carlson being accused of being a source to the New York Times and Hannity and those leaking information, and they're backbiting each other, and that is spilled out. So it's very interesting, these conservative icons, the rift that exists, and it's more than just petty jealousy. They really believe that if you cross the line to do bidding with the New York Times as a source, or if you're involved in a campaign and you use a Democrat operative as a source that you may pay money to, you cross the line. And it's almost a declaration of war. There's just literally no tolerance for it. And it's not just Candace and Kim. I mean, that's why it injected Fox News into this debate. Hopefully, they've toned down. They've realized the damage they've done. It has really been very, very devastating for Kim Klacik. I mean, she lost her book contract, speaking engagements, and more importantly, I do think that
he knows that Kim lost a whole bunch. He knows that. Well, I mean, the AI said they didn't even know each other. Turns out they do. And he knows her to the extent that he knows what kind of book deal she's losing out on and opportunities. And then this person here, who's allegedly Mary Barr, says Klacik's been very affected. Tell Armstrong to send a photographer to follow her and her husband, right? This is interesting, but let's keep going.
Candace raised some very important issues about transparency with finances. It doesn't matter whether you're conservative or not. If you're taking the public's money and there are allegations that you're not spending it wisely, you should be very transparent and give an accounting. And, many of those issues were addressed in my interview with Ms. Klacik, but we never really got into the finances. But I do think that she owes the public an explanation. I think she has an explanation, and you just can't sit on that information and say, I'm not going to respond, because it only adds more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So he actually said that they did an interview together. So again, and this is not me, I'm just harping on the fact that, AI will just lead you wrong sometimes, but they do know each other. They've sat down together. They've talked. He knows all sorts of stuff about her. So it very much, not even kind of, it very much validates what's being said here. For a lot of people, the first reaction is, oh, these are fabricated. These are made up, blah, blah, blah. But this all really does check out. Barr, I already did the research on Barr. And also somebody gave me a tip saying she might have gone to school in New York. So go to school in New York. You have a husband that's from New York. You worked in New York. It's like, so you would have a New York number, right? The person, this whistleblower who was very engaged with Armstrong AG Barr and possibly this DOJ senior official, it seems like this woman, right? This woman who has the whistleblowing going on, Patricia is her name. It seems like she was just getting pulled everywhere. She became like a gopher. Like, hey, you're gonna work on a Candace Owens thing. Hey, you're gonna work on you're gonna put $700,000 in your bank account. Don't worry about it. Hey, you're gonna do this. Hey, you're gonna do that. You don't want to go back to Brazil, do you? That's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like. The narrative is that she's just a ballsy criminal who just got all these very nice people, all these very nice politician types wrapped up in something that's just so icky. And it's just her, It's just her alone. She acted alone. Isn't that always the story? Oh man, they acted alone actually. Yeah, I know. It's one in a million shot, but yeah, they just acted alone. That's always it, right? So, just looking into that, listen, I have verified for sure who the whistleblower is. And I'm not saying it's him. I'm not saying it's the guy that you just saw on the screen. But I am saying that is definitely the whistleblower. She is definitely connected to Armstrong. There is definitely someone who is referring to Armstrong a bunch in this text exchange. They are definitely connected to Kim Klacik, so much so that she's saying, I can't stop thinking if what she says about Klacik gets taken seriously, they will investigate the use of the money in the election campaign. Need to destroy her reputation. They need to blackmail her faster. All I'm saying is there's a deep connection here. So, of course, I'm going to say allegedly, but why should I even have to? I'm just saying, why should I have to? But I do, and I will. I respect Mr. Armstrong. You understand? Gotta respect Mr. Armstrong. Should respect anybody named Armstrong. They've gone through a hard life. No doubt. I got a name. My name's Colin, I go in for job interviews. They think that there's like an Irish redheaded kid coming in because I got an Irish name and I have a very Irish last name too. And then I walk in and it's me and they're like, okay. I get through doors. You just see my name on paper. It gets me through doors. You see the name Armstrong? It's like 50-50, You're like, I don't know about this guy's name's Armstrong. At the very least, he's going to be a weirdo. Right? So he's had a hard life. Respect to that man. But if you did what it says here, then not respect to you. Let me play a little bit more of this. I haven't played this all the way through.
Those were some serious accusations. If it's true, it's serious. If it's not true, it's still serious because those accusations were made, right? So either way, this is a story that it's not going away anytime soon. People are still talking about it online, obviously. Another big story that you're following.
So that's all I need to play there. They're going to get into something else. But this video was about, and you can see it right there. I wish that bar would go away, but you can see it right there. Candace Owens and Kim Klacik feud online. So this was a story that he was engaged in. He knew about it. He knew what the stakes were. He knew Candace Owens was talking too much. And then all of a sudden, randomly, there's just these unknown texts that talk about Klacik and talk about Armstrong. And then this woman, Patricia, says, hey, it is this Armstrong. And she's actually connected to him. And he's actually connected to Klacik. And he's actually connected to Barr. And Barr's daughter's actually DOJ. I mean, what are we talking about here? Allegedly. I'm just saying. It's interesting. The whole thing's interesting. But I found the whistleblower. And again, what goes through my mind the most about this whole thing is the fact that he said this about Charlie. What does this guy know about Charlie? Why is he saying that Barr's patience is running thin? He's saying for you to be careful. And he's saying to take a good hard look at what happened with Kirk and maybe you'll think twice. What does he know? I already said this in the last video I did, but it has to be echoed again. It was a random person who acted alone who is now in police custody, as far as we know. Why would she have to think twice? If the guy's already locked up and he's already in jail, why would she have to think twice? What does he know about that case? What does he know about what they wanted to do to Candace Owens? Was he actually the person that worked on that case, that whole blackmail her faster? That's real. This is real. What does he know about what happened with Charlie? Because what he's saying there is, he's saying that could happen to you too. And Tyler's in jail. So if he's saying that could happen to you too, that means Tyler's not the one that did it. If Tyler's not the one that did it, then who did? And why does this Armstrong, who's connected to Barr, who's connected to all these political people, why would you say that? What's actually happened to Charlie? Is the official narrative already doesn't make any sense. And they're just brazenly talking about it via text messages while the rest of us twist in the wind and we want to know what the truth is. And they're talking about it like, hey, you want to end up like that too? Who actually did this? And here's another thing. This dude, and again, not pushing back on Candace or anything, but this dude probably doesn't know anybody. I've been looking into him. He doesn't know anybody that's French. And he doesn't know anybody from Philadelphia. He only knows people in one gov. And for some reason, he felt brazen enough to say this. What actually happened to Charlie? The official narrative is no more. I'm not even saying it doesn't make sense anymore. It's not real. That's where I'm at with it. I'm done with that. I'm not even examining it anymore. I'm not considering it anymore. There are people, these are not fabricated. There are people who are connected to officials, even if they're former officials, powerful people who are able to say this type of thing about Charlie. They're able to look at Candace and say blackmail her faster. They're able to look at somebody who's telling the truth, who's releasing text messages, and they're able to look at them and say, be careful. I wish I could cuss. I would say that official narrative can suck. I'm not going to say it. I don't talk like that anymore. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to bring that to you. Interesting stuff. Again, Armstrong Williams. I won't say that he's allegedly Armstrong Williams hasn't commented yet. No comment to Veritas. No comment from Veritas to me or to Candace. But I definitely believe Veritas. Believe him 100%. I believe this Patricia lady 100%. Dark times we're in, guys. Very, very dark times. Anyways, I'm out of here. See you tomorrow.